Okay, so welcome to another exploration into consciousness with the Earth Nouveau Hub. As always, very, very happy to have you here. And today's topic is belief system, or I think it was more like we are the creators of our reality, right? Now, this topic has been inspired by the lovely Marisa Gonzalez. I don't know if anyone saw that. It was all about the discussion about, that worldwide rollout of injections, and how can we choose it? How does our belief system impact on all of that? And so this is a very, first of all, I don't want this is not going to be a debate about the injections themselves. So I don't want to get into that at all, because otherwise we're going to sit there for the rest of our lives here. That's not what this is about. This is all about belief system, yeah? And how can we create with an aligned belief system, aligned to our personal truth, which creates true choice. So that's the one, I'm just going to create a context as usual, and then we take it from there. So the first thing is an aligned belief system creates true choice. Yeah. Now, whoever has been able to open the document, I've drawn an iceberg, and we're going to look at beliefs and habits as the top of the iceberg. That's what we actually see. We're going to go and start looking into what is actually a belief. How is it being created? And then we're going to look at all the consciousness distortions that are underneath that part of the iceberg that we don't see, that actually doesn't allow us to create the way we want to create through those consciousness distortions. And we know where they all come from. Yeah, childhood, past lives, and all of that. But I want to go into the details more of that, at least list them all, because you see, most of that stuff, awareness is healing. Now, if we don't necessarily, if we are ignorant, which means unaware of what is actually impacting on our beliefs on a subconscious level below that tip of the iceberg, then we can't change it. But once we have an awareness of what's actually happening there, it's sometimes very easy to change that. Yeah. And then, of course, choice comes into play with all of that, because Shoba, hold on, because it is an intrinsic existential requirement of man and woman. Yeah. Humans' existential requirement is having personal freedom and choice. Now, through what's happening in this world at the moment, as we know, that choice seems to be inhibited. But then the question is it really? So the question is, can we be part of a system that doesn't necessarily align to our belief system, but can we be part of it without being affected by it? And above that, can we be part of that system without having to resist it for the system to claim our power? So how can we have, what is an aligned belief system that allows us to stay in our power? We're not giving it up, but we can still be part of something, because it's, as long as we have this, physical body here at this point in time, part of transformation, it's unavoidable until things are changing. So we need to take our power back by aligning our belief system on a very individual level to what we really want. We need clarity, what we really want. We need meaning. And we also need to really be courageous. We talk about courage all the time. Now, we need to be courageously, okay, now that's a different thing. I don't want to go into this now, but I want to look at suffering from one perspective, because let's call what this is happening now is a form of suffering, because it is infringing on our personal freedom and choice, right? At least that's what it is portrayed on top of that iceberg. Now, how can we, shit, what was I going to say with that? How can we, I've totally forgot what I was just saying. Anyway, how can we maintain and stay in that power? I can't.
It was about choice. You were speaking about choice.
I was talking about choice. Yes. Okay. So yes, the exploration here is part of that belief system. Is what does actually true choice mean? True choice meaning one thing. If I take the injection, if we want to use that as an example, just on the side, it's not going to make a difference to me. And if I do take it, it's not going to make a difference to me, depending on my belief system, if I'm aligned to that belief system. Yeah, good. So I will share it, the document, because not everyone has access to this. So anyway, keep talking at the meantime. Does any of that bring anything up for you just to start off with? Are we good going into this one? I mean, this can go into a million directions, yeah? Are there any questions to kick this off?
I'm curious to take a look at the document. I didn't get a chance to see that.
Okay.
Are you going to drop it in the chat?
It is in the chat, darling.
Oh, I guess I came in too late. I don't.
Yeah, it's already in the chat.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's not coming up for me because maybe I logged in late.
Can see it. So I'm just trying now to share it. Okay, let me see how I do this. Just a second. So how do I share this now? Share screen. Hold on. Where you guys gone? Files, Dropbox. Why does it not come up? Google Drive? No. No. Hold on. How do I do this? Share screen. Desktop. Ah, okay.
Is here, yes.
Here it is. Here is the baby. Here is my superb iceberg. Okay. Right. So that's pretty much works for that. Yeah. So dynamically, we're going to dynamically explore living with meaning and authentic expression of individual truths and how that impacts on our wealth, health, and personal freedom. Yeah. So if we just look at the top here, that's the iceberg that we see. Okay. So we all know that we're living. Let's start what's inside the iceberg here. So we're going to look into how does a belief actually get created, right? So we all know that we're living in a 100% free will universe. Now, experience creates an emotion. An emotion creates a thought. Think of an arrow coming down here. Emotion creates a thought. Now that thought gets thought, we think that thought over and over and over again until we create a belief system that then creates a habitual pattern. Yeah. Now we can take this now, if you take the arrow up, you can say that you have a belief system. That belief system creates a thought. As we think that thought, we have this emotion that then creates an experience. Yeah. So that's basically how we create a belief system. And then a couple of belief systems, continuously repeated becomes this habitual pattern. And if you're not looking into it, then becomes that repetition without illumination. Now, all of that is part of what we're here for. Yeah. So it's perfectly normal. Yeah. This is exactly what we're here for. We're supposed to have experiences. We're supposed to have emotions. We're thinking, belief system, habitual patterns. Now, this is where we're going up and down all the time. So that is that polarization and the conscious control. This is where choice comes in. We can control that through choice, or we can guide it. Control is not a good word for that. That's this whole thing of karmic resolution. Now, that's that. Outside of that, we've got boundaries on top of our, they are underneath on the subconscious level of the iceberg too, but let's talk about the boundaries on top of the iceberg. Yeah, we actually can influence by doing our invocations, by prayers, visualization, meditation, and just very simply put up the boundaries, whatever we want. Now, when we talk about boundaries, number one is to look at, these are not walls necessarily of protection. Yeah. These are actually boundaries, healthy boundaries. This works for me and this does not. Yeah. Now, on top of that iceberg, very often though, those boundaries are not necessarily boundaries. They are actually walls. They are such high walls where nobody can come in. Yeah. But you also can't get out. Now, there's no choice in any of that. Yeah. And then we have discipline and devotion. And discipline, you know me, guys, discipline is not so my thing. I don't really like discipline a lot, because when we go and look it up in the dictionary, it actually comes from a place, discipline is like completely exhausting yourself. Yeah. So I found a word that works for me, which is devotion. Look at the energy of devotion versus discipline. It expresses the same, but there is more the energy of choice. I'm devoted because that's what I'm choosing it, right? This is what I love it. But that's just my little suggestion here. That's just what I came up with. So that's the top. So let's talk about, and then before we carry on, and then of course, we have the subconscious, everything that is underneath. Now we can't see, that's in the water. These are all these unconscious, consciousness distortions. And I've listed as many as I could think of. And we can look at those. Yeah. And as long as we haven't cleared and cleansed and purified and looked into every little nitty-gritty corner of those unconscious consciousness distortions, our belief system on top will not allow us to create with ease. Yeah. So as long as we have these unconscious consciousness distortions still running, and we will go into those if just about now, we do not have true choice. We may think we're choosing, but actually, is it real choice? So let's say what we are going towards is having pure, absolute, total awareness without any consciousness distortions, 100% sovereignty through healthy boundaries, through devotion, discipline for people who like discipline, wholeness, no separation. And once we can apply that to our personal, individual truth, then whatever else happens in the system cannot take our power, because we will be fortified along those lines. Yeah. And this is not a state of somewhere where we are arriving at some stage. This is a continuous ebb and flow. Yeah. As long as we have a body, until we become those ascended masters. And even at that level, there will still be that, because we know, just because, you know, we are ascended master, no ascended masters are walking on this planet. So wherever they are, they're still having shit going on. Yeah, just on a slightly less impacting, you know, sort of level. So let's talk about the top of what we've just said now. What is it that you guys know? What is it that you want to add to that or ask about? And can we all see it now? Yeah, are we all good?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear the rain? It's pissing down in London. Okay, anything? Anyone?
I was just thinking the word devotion also implies like love to me. So,
Exactly.
you know, loving what you're doing, and, you know, honoring that, and
Yeah.
having it as a, like a daily practice.
Yes, yes. I found it the other day and I thought, oh, why didn't I think about that before? That's that worked for me from an energetic perspective, you know?
And for me, it's like recognizing your choice boundaries, your choice intention, and maintain that choice energy daily, from moment to moment. Just stay in your choice energy. It will correct your way, of course. You will cancel something, you will add something, but in general, it would be that color of your choice, color of your intention that you are following, and making space for exploration, embodiment of that your choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So when you have a belief system that is aligned with your truth, and of course we have to say that we all know that my truth is not somebody else's truth, then the intention and attention that you are focusing out will create. Yeah.
Yeah. This is that exploration of possibilities that you are choosing to have while you still have your body.
Exactly.
Otherwise, what else to do if you don't want to go, and you recognize you don't want to go with the system? It's already done in your existence, in your experience. You're done with that. You want to be in the system because it is inevitable, like you said, but you don't want to be part of that influence and of that direction and of those directives.
Yeah. Another way of saying that is, you know, the system, let's say the system causes suffering. Yeah. Let's look at suffering as such. The system causes suffering. Now, suffering is one of the points, one of the areas that creates meaning. Okay. So, okay, that's one thing. Okay. Oh, there's so many things I want to say. Has anyone read Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning? Guy who, the classic tribute to hope from the Holocaust. Brilliant, brilliant little book, because, you know, it takes suffering to a different level. And then it also, he's the founder of logotherapy. So he was a psychotherapist. And then obviously through his experiences in Auschwitz and other, you know, other camps, he has created logotherapy. And logo is basically stands for meaning. So when you can find meaning, because we're talking about attention and intention and focus, right? Which is part of meaning. So when we can see the suffering, and compared to what this has been, you know, considered suffering, what we're going through with our, you know, injections and all of that, is a different level of suffering. But let's just, for the sake of argument, yeah, let's call it suffering. What is the opportunity for us? What meaning can we find in that suffering? What can we learn about true choice? So my invitation today is looking at belief system, suffering, meaning, true choice. What is actually true choice? How is it linked to the belief system? And, apart from me being told I can't choose this and this, am I actually truly choosing on a daily basis? Or where have I given up my birth rate for choice and choosing already? And now it's the big hoo-ha, they get taken away the choice. But hang on a second. This is the opportunity for us to look at, yes, that is the case, but what is that a reflection of? Have we actually learned to choose? Do we even know what it means? Choice is the tool for creation on the dharmic path. And without a belief system that is congruent to what you want to choose, you don't have true choice. So if we are going into that place and use this opportunity to look at, okay, great, suffering, what is the meaning of that? It's all about us learning about choice. When are we choosing? When are we not choosing? What keeps us from choosing? Do we think, just because we think we have a belief, is that real true choice? Or is it actually not? Because look at what's underneath that iceberg that is contraindicating that choice that I'm thinking I'm making up here.
This is a complicated thing though, isn't it, Martina, to see your programs, because the programs will just take you spinning off into a direction that you're utterly convinced and in full belief that you have shifted and adjusted. I mean, today I had one myself and it was like, I'm totally convinced that I'm on the right path. And then today it became very, very clear. I'm behaving like a little shop owner in my interactions with people. If you'd asked me something about that 24 hours ago, I'd have denied it. But it took sitting down and writing it out to be able to say, hold on a minute, look at this pattern. And so it's like, holy shit, I've been hauling this pattern around for so long. And I would have argued with anybody that I was holding that template. But there it was, suddenly just bing.
Fantastic. Well, that's where the discipline and devotion comes in. You allow yourself to look at that. Now, you've said a few things now. As soon as you start, there's so many tools of looking at that. As soon as there's a trigger, as soon as you start arguing, as soon as you start resisting, as soon as you start trying to convince people about something, you know there's something happening underneath there.
Thank you. I'll write those ones down because.
Well, write them down, whichever. But I can also I will post that in the Earth Nouveau quote.
Super.
That's interesting. Yeah.
If
So.
I may.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I can't see everyone because of the sharing. So please just talk. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I like Andrew's idea, the thoughts he put in last revocation. He just sent letters like yesterday, I believe, something about limitations related to, what is that? Again, to our personal beliefs, that is incongruency with system. Yeah. It's kind of like we have it because we're so long in this system, and system using that we have it and putting some ideas that we unconsciously going to explore. And like you say, Martina, it's creating that struggle inside because you don't feel you want to go that direction, but at the same time you go in that direction.
Absolutely.
So I like his words. He said, step by step, slowly start to change your reality, not to start to fall into instant gratification, and not to fall out too much from system, because in other way I experienced myself, you just don't know what to do. You just stay in kind like your healthy boundaries, everything working for you, but you're not co-creating. You kind like outside of reality that going on. So I like that he already said it is inevitable that we will be unfolding of what Shoba said, step by step, little by little, what we already have in us. That is incongruency with system that is creating struggle, but little by little unfolding. This is a happy journey, spending years, we still here having body, but at the same time, stepping out of flow of system, creating your personal flow.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. It's I've also seen it. Whoever is a member of AB's membership thingy, he sends out, you know, those weekly or whatever daily um, emails, and the revocation he sent out when I read it was very much in synchronicity with what we're talking about, you know. Yeah. So I had to laugh because, you know, it was you know, talking about the habitual patterns that are creating this repetition without illumination. Now what we are doing here now is we're really drilling down on those patterns. Yes. So thanks for saying that, Irina. Yes, it is a lifelong process, which we've, you know, already pointed out before. And it's not for us to get out of this body. It's actually using the body to help us choose. Very, very important. There is 1,000 tools we can work with, you know, using every single trigger that comes up, using the relationships, using the mirror work, all of that. I have a couple of clearing tools, which I've just put them on the side here. Yeah. Using the body, using the breath work, you know, using exercise, using the question and all of that. It is the experience. And this is how it all starts off. Look here, the experience. If we stop having experiences because we are getting out of the fray here and saying, oh, this, fuck this, we're not doing this anymore, then you're cutting yourself short. Okay. It is the experience that we have to allow, and we have to create and out-create. If we go down here, it is the emotions that we can't just deny our emotions. We need to work with them. There is an emotional flexibility to experience that is required. If we have an emotional flexibility to experience, yeah, let's go down here. We've got emotional distortion here. So I just listed a few: criticism, anger, fear, rage, resentment, guilt, all of that. Now, what is emotional flexibility? Allow yourself to experience every single one of them. Ask questions. What is the source? Is this really an emotion that is mine? Or am I so empathically psychic without any healthy boundaries that I'm picking up everybody else's shit, including the earth going through the turmoil and everything? Yeah. Look, we're covering a lot of shit today, so just go with whatever sticks out, and you can also, you know, as you re-listen to the recording and everything, lots of more questions will come up. So there is this emotional, first of all, look at what kind of emotions are you experiencing. Is there a pattern in it? When do they come up? Right? How do you deal with them? Can you allow them? Or are you denying them? The worst you can do is denial. Yeah. Denying emotions is part of that. It's almost like if you deny, especially what we call negative emotion, there's no negative or positive emotion. It's just an emotion. It's just energy in motion. But we are very inclined as human beings to deny the negative emotions because they're just not socially acceptable, the anger, the fear, the rage, and all of that. So what we do is we go into that false sense of optimism. There's so many people out there, they're just eternally optimistic, which is impossible. Impossible. Even if you're sacred neutral, yeah? If you've tasted the sacred neutral, the unlimited point of view, the unlimited point of view is part of, or allowing yourself to be emotional is part of the unlimited point of view, yeah? Allow yourself to be fearful, allow yourself to be angry, allow yourself to be sad, work with the body, allow the tears to come and all of that. So any emotion that you keep stored, that you keep hidden, that you try to avoid, we've got it all here. Emotions, resistance, rejection, avoidance, denial, suppression, all of that will get stuck. We got them all here. Emotional distortions. If you start resisting, reject. So let's just do a clearing here. Yeah, an access clearing. There's so much stuff. So everything that we've already brought up, let's just destroy and uncreate that now. Yeah. And then all these emotional distortions, positive, negative, which you're resisting, rejecting, avoiding, denying, suppressing, burying, hiding. Can we just destroy and uncreate all of those? Do yourself a favor, just like what Shoba just said. If you think you're on the right path, destroy all the belief system along those lines too. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have no beliefs anymore and you're naked. It means that you don't make it significant. Every significance that you make will throw you into judgment.
Like flipping the program in a way, isn't it?
It's not even flipping it. It's actually saying, even if it's a positive thing, just destroy and uncreate it. Yeah. Okay. And then see what, if it comes again, that's fine. Yeah. But sometimes we get so positive. Oh, this is the best and it's so great. We're incarcerating ourselves through positive emotions as well. Because what that does is it puts us into a blind spot. So for instance, I'm just taking you as an example, Shoba. This shop is the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah. Everything's going so fantastic, la, 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 and all of that. And you are reinforcing that belief system to the extent that you do no longer see what else is out there for you. Because there might be another possibility for you to, I don't know, leave the country, go somewhere else, start a new shop, create something completely new. Yeah?
Completely.
So that is a consciousness distortion as well. So the the opposite of true choice is actually judgment. Everything you judge, positive or negative, everything you make significant and valuable and
Get involved into.
Yeah, I mean, get involved into, but it's to an extent that it doesn't allow you to see what else is possible. That this is where that choice thing, that question thing is so important, This is amazing. Gratitude is really, really important. That's the antidote of judgment too. Amazing. And not from a place of greediness or selfishness, but from a knowingness that movement and change is a universal constant. We talked about this last time. Yeah. And I've seen many people in my life who are super, 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 super positive. And there's so much denial and control behind that positivity. Okay. And then you wonder why the beliefs that you're focusing and I'm so positive, but it's not happening. Well, why is that? Because what are you resisting really that you haven't allowed yourself to look at? What are you rejecting? What are you avoiding? What wounds have you not healed?
Listening to you, Martina, your contemplation on this topic, this saying coming into my mind. Remember, Einstein, he said, you can change something when you are part of that something. You need to step outside of that something. Then you will see, and you can find a different approach that can change that thing that you want to change, where you're stuck, other words. And talking about emotions, it's very interesting. I'm coming from tradition where we recognize two emotional bodies, not one, two emotional bodies that we use. Emotions that is getting us into experience. You're not emotional, you're not having experience. It's just flowing by you. You're observing, but you're not part of that experience. And when we recognize these two emotional bodies, we connect with two creational centers in our body, like you can see it as chakra system. We recognize heart is an organ of creation, and we see 2 points in our body that is part of our experience, that we can come with heart energy, creating our reality. One traditional that we use for what you were discussing last time, for dharma or karma, for our human experience, we call it upper heart chakra. And this is that emotional body that we know, right emotional body, we say, right brain, yes? That I love you, but it's all the time duality experience. This is how we see. And then another center that we can, real center, energetic center, we call it lower heart chakra. That is, you can connect your heart creative energy to that place, and this is where you can really step into universal connection, center of where everything coming from in this bubble that we call our universe. So if we're stuck in our upper heart chakra for experience, this is where we are inside of that bubble of struggle, duality, opposites, and all that. And then we really connected to that emotional jumping right and left, right and left. And rarely we can stop in neutrality, but neutrality, it's a part of right and left. It's the same stream, it's the same direction. But when you can really be in two places, and you can disconnect from this emotional body and connect to that emotional body that is coming from your universal being, universal presence, then you can really be, like I call it, turn your experience that is before affected you. You were charged by that experience because of emotional body, right and left. Turn it into movie of your life. I call it movie of your life. You're not triggered, but you can be part of that experience at any time you want. But you clearly see how it plays, right and left, stop in the middle, and all that. So we need maybe look at emotional bodies that we are using, like it's our past, it's our old experience that we had duality limitation experience.
Absolutely.
And now step and have these two pictures in your bigger picture, not just stay inside of human emotions, because you will be thrown right and left, or maybe you can stop in the middle and hold a little bit position there, but then again, right, left.
Yeah. So if I understood this correctly, what you've just very nicely explained here is that what we're saying in terms of you can create through, you do not have to create through emotional turmoil, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
this is what we call choice. That's what I call choice. You can create purely through choice. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but most of of us are still creating through these emotional distortions that need to be looked at. Yeah. That
Yeah.
need to be released, the wounds that need to be healed. And when I said earlier on, allow yourself to feel the emotion, this is almost a tool. Yeah. This is not so much like feel the emotion in order to create, but feel the emotion in order for it to heal, to go through it, to not deny it, to not resist it, to not reject it. But thank you so much. Beautifully explained. You know, that's the two ways of creation: the creation on the karmic path, woohoo, that, or the creation through choice on the dharmic path.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, there's no separation between both either, you know, so, you know, choice creates. Without the hoo-ha. I do want to use, since we've talked a little bit about this emotions, yeah, so we talked about emotional flexibility. So that's the one thing, emotional flexibility, because as long as we are, you know, human beings, yes, we can add choice in order to create, but also we are supposed to be enjoying the emotions on some level. Yeah. So this is not about turning into robots here. We want to enjoy the emotions. Now, what you will be finding is as you starting to heal those emotional distortions is that you can still get angry, but it won't keep you there for, there was, you know, sometimes there were days or day where you kept being miffed or pissed off with somebody, angry with somebody. And now it's like, it might still come up, and then you just release it within a very short period of time. That is a nice way of looking how far you've already come. Okay. And then there will come a time where that doesn't necessarily even come up anymore. Yeah. Because you've done so much healing already. Now we're talking about belief system. What keeps us from creating that belief system that is actually, you know, aligning with our truth that we want to create. That's why we have this emotional thing in there. Now, I would like another thing now. I'd like this emotional flexibility. I'd like to make a link here. We have doubt, lack of trust and faith, slightly down there, before number 2. That's the last. Lack of trust and faith and emotions. Now, emotions are very much linked to our 5 senses, right? When we hear, when we see something, when we feel something, when we taste even or smell something. So there is a link between the emotions, the 5 senses and our emotions. Now, very often that link is like through the senses, we get triggered into emotions. Through the senses, we get triggered into emotions that then throw us into doubt, lack of trust. Right? As much as we want to trust ourselves, our intuition, our insights and everything through the senses that trigger those emotions, we often get thrown out, right? It's quite interesting. And then if you take the 5 senses, the 6th sense is made up of the 5 senses and is called intuition. And again, it's linked to trusting, having faith, not doubting. So there is a link when you have issues with lack of trust. That's why I'm bringing this up. You may want to look at what's going on my emotional side and look at all the emotions. What still triggers you a lot? And is that me sensing that, throwing me into emotion that takes me out of trust and throws me into the doubt? Okay, over to you now. I don't want to, you know, there's so much going on. So let's just take the energy that's brought up. Any confusion and stuff, let's just try and uncreate that. And let's see if we have any questions around that. Let's explore that a little bit. Let's explore the unconscious consciousness distortions with flexibility of emotions and then lack trust and faith and doubt. And as I said, I can't see any. So just speak. How are we doing so far?
I like what Irina was talking about, right? About, looking at things from that wider perspective. And, I try to coach my clients all the time in this same type of thing where you can know when you're getting triggered, right? I call it standing on the bridge above the river, where all of those emotions in that muddy river are swirling around right in your unconscious space. And then if you can gain a little objectivity and stand on that bridge above the river and be able to see, oh, wait a minute, I'm triggered. Wait, what just happened? Right? And I think that is a choice point of perspective that you can gain when you back up to see that bigger picture.
Yeah, it's also the place where the sympathetic and the parasympathetic are not aligned, it's where, the programs kick in. That it's the main place. Emotional distortion, lack of flexibility, emotional flexibility, which leads to lack of trust and doubt, is part of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So much so that, remember where AB says the body thinks it's the soul, right? And takes over. So emotional, to work with your emotions and look at them to get to a stage where you can freely explore them, enjoy them, have a laugh about them, not sit in them and make yourself crazy. That's where we want to be in order to create habit patterns and belief systems, thoughts, emotions, and feelings that actually, and experiences at the end of the day, if we go up the ladder again, that are conducive to what we want to create.
Well, and that's a change in perspective, really, too, right? The joy versus suffering, right? You can choose, I think, when you're in that space of more objectivity, you can choose to be joyful about the emotional processing that's going on when you're aware of it.
Absolutely. This is very much what Viktor Frankl says. When you are in a place where he was and so many others were at the time, where you have no choice, do you still have a choice? Yes, you always have a choice.
But you can recognize that you have choice only when you see possibility of choices. If you're stuck in one choice, you can see wider. You are in that bubble, and this is where you just follow whatever comes your way. You are dependent on that emotional state that you are having with that bubble. You're not choosing because you don't have choices to see choices. When you step outside of that struggle, when you, like Andrew saying, when you start to recognize bigger picture, when you start to recognize this humanity history, why we came to this moment of now, how we came, how we created those beliefs that holding us in today's experience. And when we start to recognize that, then you can only understand, wow, I'm doing something and it looks like choice, but I didn't choose it consciously. It just came like addition to my life, like part of what I am experiencing, where I was born, my education, my societal roots. But when you can see it, that bigger picture, then you can bring choice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not even understanding there is a choice. And we see it outside in the world. A lot of people, they just stuck in their routine and they go in with their routine thinking. Then you, like you said, Martina, yes, then they come to that excitement, super excitement, and saying, this is the best, or this is only I want to explore, because they already in a bubble. They're not stepping outside of bubble.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this, Alfredo, do you
Oh,
want to say something?
Yeah. I wanted to let everybody talk because I love this topic, but
Yeah.
like this is kind of like on this topic and last week's topic about desires, because I've just been like wondering, like I've been like, oh man, Ender's material, and like some part of me was kind of drawn to Abraham Hicks. I was like, I'll just look into that stuff because like, what is it I truly desire? And then you start talking about it. I was like, yeah, what do I truly fucking desire? And it's like, but like when I was like on the path, I was like, oh, I want to do cranial psychotherapy because it makes me feel fucking good, and I love the way it makes me feel. And it's like that's what I want to do. And I was on the path, and I was caught up with that. And then somewhere along the line, like with the soup of COVID, and my job got more intense. We had, like, I was just like, the business was booming. Like we had all these people hired, and like I felt like this urge to like, oh, the energy's bubbling up. I gotta be the fucking leader of this because like I gotta step up because there's all these people. There's a soup of energies, and I just felt like I know that I want to do cranial psychotherapy, but like I got caught up in like this big soup of like this, I don't know, this purpose, and like I got caught up in it. I was like, yeah, I'm going all in for this because like trying to manage the energies, and like I had my walls up, and it's like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna step up. I'm gonna be the best I can at my work, at my job, and like yeah, I put all my like all my focus on that, and like I got all these great things. I got a raise, I got a promotion, and all that shit, and like I got it. I was like, yeah, I got it. It's like, wait, like I got it. Now what's next? Like I'm still like yeah, I'm feeling good, but I'm just still not fulfilled. Like it was like, what does I fucking truly desire? Like I was like, wait, hold up. I want to do creative psychotherapy, but I got caught up in this, like the COVID, the whole, the way the energies were going, with the whole situation. And then like, I lost track of, what was what I really wanted to do with this. And I don't know, it was cool. Cause like, I was like, how did I, go from, I want to do creative psychotherapy to like, boom. And then like, I had to like dissect. It's like, what happened along the route that I just like lost track of my purposeful choice. Like yeah.
No, I like that because
that's why I've been writing like crazy. So I was like trying to like figure out like what the fuck happened, how come I didn't like it was go ahead, sorry, I just want to say that.
No, it's a nice illustration because we sometimes we get so enthusiastic, and there's nothing wrong about being enthusiastic, but we get so caught up in this is the one thing, this is the one guy, this is the one vocation, and this is gonna work for the rest of my life, without acknowledging that there is not just one choice. Yeah. And most of us have not chosen to come here to be that one, do that one thing. We are here to juggle. We have capacities to juggle about, I don't know, 20 projects at the same time, because not every project requires your intention on a daily basis right now, right? And we are all compulsive creators. We are all OCD, yeah, as far as I'm concerned. And the thing is, if we don't acknowledge that, and if we don't allow ourselves to add more to our lives, the conventional coaching is always, if you feel like stressed, or you need to let go of stuff, or you're doing too much. Well, I say, fuck that. You're doing too little. What can you add to your life, right? Because there is too much. You've got too many things, too many interests, that are possible, and it on some level. Just because the system tells you that's not the way it is, and we have to create linearly, that's not how we're going to create, right? Because we're multidimensional. We create on so many different levels at the same time. And that's really also something to look at. When there might not be anything wrong with the belief system. You can create it, but as I think Irina said, is it instant gratification? You want it right now? Well, maybe that's not what it's supposed to be. That doesn't bring meaning to your life. Maybe it's just something that grows slowly in the background. In the meantime, what can I add to my life to then juggle it all and allow it to come together and to create meaning on that level? I want to just go back to one thing. We talked about suffering. There's this one thing. I love going to the root cause of stuff. Yeah. Because can we allow ourselves to be happy being unhappy? Can you be happy being unhappy?
Can I share something about that?
Yeah. Please.
Because I've been taking notes when you were talking.
Good.
And when you talk about pain, you know, because for me, pain is being the tool, the catharsis. I needed a catharsis in my life to realize and recognize who I am. Horrible that it sounds, you know, but now after 6 years, I see it, that pain like an ignition to overcome everything. O sea, now I'm in this step who the person I am now is with all that pain and catharsis that happened, I needed to experience. I didn't need it to experience because nobody has a necessity. Catharsis. I think with the word it says everything, you know? Yeah. And the pain, when I was in completely pain, I used to know okay, that was temporal, you know? That is one thing I used to grab on it. And the pain becomes a confusion, it becomes, you are in a labyrinth of emotions, of everything. And sorry, I'm lost. I completely lost my thing. That's all what I wanted to say. Sorry, I completely lost it.
No, that's fine. I keep losing it. There's so much going on energetically at the moment. We've got so many open windows at the moment. You know, it's just like, okay. So let me jump in before I forget what I was going to say with that. Yeah, because you gave us a really nice example about choosing pain. Yeah, to learn. So you're putting meaning to suffering through pain.
Yes.
Yeah, now hold on. Now that's an interesting belief system. And I know you've already said this is not something the way you just have to create, but this is how you're creating at the moment. Now let me challenge that belief system right now and say, what if you could actually destroy and uncreate all these projections, expectations, ideas, judgments, that pain helps you to learn? What if you can actually just choose it? Do you know how, look, because I'm going to challenge you with that, because I have done this all my life, because I love learning. I've created pain in my body so that I could learn and advance in my awareness. That was part of the belief system that I did not know. Yeah. And also it came from a very old place that suffering was the only way to learn and advance and grow. That is no longer the case. So anyone here who is running pain, including myself, still as a means to learn and advance your levels of awareness, can we please destroy and uncreate all of that? And can we just instead choose health? Without wanting it right away, but can we just choose it and get out of the old paradigm that pain and suffering is part of, you know, this hard pain, no gain without hard pain and all that bullshit. Yeah. Let's destroy and uncreate that old paradigm that we have applied to for eons, lifetimes, because we don't need to do this anymore. That's just one thing. By looking at what a belief system can create on a level of underneath the surface here. Yeah.
I believe, yeah, very nice idea. I love it. And this question again arising in me. We created spiritual technology. We used spiritual technology, creating place for experience. And that spiritual technology today connected to physical technology. We have some mechanism inside of our physical body and outside that is connected to energy. It's supporting, we are in a net that is influencing our experience. This is that bubble, like I see it, that is already like you are in some particular playground. And that playground has only this entertainment that you can go and entertain yourself. Other words, having experience as a human being. If you are still inside of the same playground, you don't have anything else to play with. You will return, like Petruska said, through the turmoil, you will return to your balance or to see other side of what else available in that playground.
Exactly.
But if you are still inside of that playground, what else you will use? You will use everything that is inside. And inside we have duality limitation rules. Duality limitations technology that we created through our beliefs for so long, repeating and polishing this duality limitation that we came to moment, nothing to explore, like Andrew saying, we done everything, we did everything, nothing new.
Yes.
So we need to see this bubble that we created and that belief system that became technology. It's already holding us in a position without us doing anything. You born, you play by those rules. You have that playground and you don't have anything else until you can see this playground, step out and say, now I want to use my creativity to create another, maybe another bubble or whatever it is. I don't know, like Andrew saying bigger net or bigger cage. Yes, we are doing that. We're creating cage, then again cage. But today we are in my understanding, in very interesting point of that crossroad, how we can continue as beings, as explorers, to work with possibilities. Andrew saying, we're done with old. It's done. It's done. It's nothing new. Everything we will do in old bubble, we will only repeat.
Yes.
So in truth, we don't have anything in our new cage, our new bubble. We need to put, and this is what Martina, you said last time, very hard to be, you call it on dharmic path. Yes, I find the same. It's like I'm looking, what do I desire? And I don't know. I just don't. I look outside, I did that, I know that I don't want to even do in this life. And I don't know really, what do I want to have? What do I want? What do I desire?
Yes.
It is really completely up to us. And we are in that position that we don't remember what we really would want different than that old bubble. Yes. It's so strange position now. I'm just laughing all the time when I'm trying to put anything into that new bubble. It's so hard. I'm like exploring, and it's hard to come with something new, really. One thing I came with, only one thing, when I am in that excitement of exploration, I even don't know what I want to explore, but when I am in that energy, you know, something like before A and B coming differently together. It's the same A and the same B, but they coming kind like differently, giving that eighth color, what Andrew's saying, you know? So it's very interesting what I found in my exploration, just be in that excitement of exploration. Not denying whatever I'm experiencing in my life. I'm still having 24/7. I have my chores, I have my, interaction with this bubble. But being in that, it's turning differently, even my 24/7. Maybe I'm not creating anything new yet, brand new, but I'm connecting A and B kind like differently.
Yes.
Without me doing it.
Okay. Whew. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. So
That was awesome. That was fucking
yeah,
awesome.
it's very good. There's so many things we can talk to. Playground. Yeah. When we talk about playground, I look at Earth. This is our playground at the moment. Okay. So we don't necessarily want to get out of the playground, but we want to acknowledge that every single one of us is a separate bubble that is actually connected to Earth, because this is how Earth creates with us. That spark creates a bubble. Earth creates a singular bubble for individually for all of us. So we create with Earth, and then we co-create with the different bubbles. So there's lots and lots and lots of bubbles. So there's one bubble, number one, where we are, this is us and our body. And the technology that you've mentioned, yeah? And the technology, when you look at our bodies, it's all crystalline. If you think about it, there's many on there, those are connecting to all the other crystals all over the place, yeah? And the way we're creating more in our bubble is by connecting to other people that are like-minded, and then we are bringing the bubbles together, right? And this at this stage, it's often to look at what is it that, as you said, that's what I said last time, it's like there's not that, I'm a big fan of recycling, yeah, upcycling. I'd like to call the new things that we're creating actually not new, because what is really new? Nothing is really new. All the theories and all the work has been already discussed and everything. It's just the remembering, the memories. We are upcycling memories and creating something new. But the new thing, there's one thing that is new. It's our stamp on it. It's the energy. It's the technology that we have chosen to come in as our bodies that creates. It's the stamp on it. How we are putting it together.
Yeah,
What
I see
we're adding.
I see where you are going. It's very interesting. And that stamping, it's consciously doing what you maybe did before unconsciously. It's still part of old. It's still part of what we did before, but now you are stamping. It's like you consciously walking through I am creator. This is still that remembering. It's not creation, something brand new.
No, but that is creation is remembering.
It is today, yes, for us, yes.
Taking the memories that are coming into our awareness and putting them together, because we've done this shit before, yeah? It's all done. We've said that. It's already done. We're just remembering all of that now, yeah? And of course, so there's another thing, as we're talking about belief system, right? Choice, because we have to choose all of that. We still have to choose that in order to create these experiences, to remember, right? And we do that through our vocation, through our relationships, and then through the suffering. These three things are basically the best things to create meaning and to remember, why we're actually here for. And there's not just one thing. Now, with all of that, when we look a bit further down, I just want to now take your attention to the unconscious consciousness distortions. Yeah, we can talk about projections, expectations, all of that, trauma, drama. That's all sort of the same kind of energy we can go into if anybody wants to. Control, perfectionism, lack. We talked about that with regards to the emotional flexibility or non-flexibility. And then, of course, I want to go to number 2 here. Yeah, there is an unacknowledged tacit consent, where we are still consenting to something on some level, be that now signing, having our birth certificate signed, voting, and things like that, that is part of this ignorant state, this lack of awareness, what we're actually doing when we're signing certain documents, when we are agreeing to certain things. That also draws us into a creation that we probably aren't aware of. Yeah, so anything we're tacitly consenting to is something we need to look at. Yeah. The other thing which influences our belief system is, again, and we've talked about this at length in AB's shows about empathy. He's a big fan of saying, what does he always say? Empathy is the last
skill.
The lowest skill of being psychic or something.
The bargain basement.
Yeah. Now, empathy is, you can define it as that to really make a point, and that is what he's doing there. And I want to add to this, empathy, when we look at that, what does that actually mean? What is he actually saying? That empathy can be a misidentification of caring, right? It can be a misidentification of picking up other people's energies and making them our own, making them a part of our belief system. Yeah, because we think we can perceive, again, emotionally, senses, we can perceive them. That doesn't mean that they are ours, and they have maybe no or very little meaning when it comes to our belief system, because of the non-awareness of having picked them up and made them as ours. So this is very important. Is it mine? Is this really my thought? Is this my emotion? Is this my experience? Or is this actually something that I have picked up from the collective consciousness and made mine? Yeah. So like using Petrushka, if you don't mind, thinking that pain is a great way of, or that was mine at some stage too, a way of learning. Where the fuck does that come from? Where did we learn that? Where did we learn that suffering is has to be, we have no choice, but we have to suffer? We always
Catholic education. Catholic education, I think it comes with that.
A lot of that, of course, religions. And even if you're not religious this lifetime, we've all been there, done it in other lifetimes, which leads me to number 4 here. So yes, everything is played out in this lifetime. But sometimes it's really cool thing to look at, hey, is this really from this lifetime or is it from a different lifetime? And that's not running away from anything. You still have to, clear it here now, but it might be very useful to find out that you've actually have issues with having your voice heard because you've been capitated in a different lifetime. And as soon as you start recognizing that you have tears, you release it. Well, how does it get better than that? That's fantastic, right? It's worthwhile doing that and looking into past life considerations that are still playing out. So I'm going to finish this whole thing now, and then I open it up again. Irina was just saying something, bigger picture, yeah? Well, this is why we have AB. This is why I sought out AB, because he gave me the bigger picture that nobody else could give me. The learning about the I am, individuation, the agents, the shards, the parts, and all of that. And number 5, yeah, shard attacks, not shark attacks, shard attacks. What influences our belief system at times is we're being influenced because we're still in competition, in hierarchy with some of our shards, parts, and avatars in other lifetimes, on other timelines. Now, if you know that, you can look at it, right? No worries. Okay. Hey, shut up. You're not doing this. That's it. We either get on or you get the fuck out of my system. I am apex now. But if you don't know that, well, you need to go to a psychic and to a psychic surgeon. No, you can do the shit yourself. As awareness is healing, right? But let's not forget about that. If you want to create something or remember something and you say, oh, this is my belief system and I really want it, why is it not happening? Well, have you looked at all of that? Have you looked at every single fucking one here? And then, of course, we must never forget the soul essence, because we've all come in, 80% memory. That's the part here, which is still unconscious, but in the upper part here. And then we have 7%. I mean, obviously these are just, guide numbers. 7% of our contracts, the soul contracts, we have not been able to remember just yet, entirely. So these soul contracts, they have an impact. And very often we hear, AB say, or we know it, that our DNA lineage, when we come in, because we've chosen the lineage, that throws us into a certain suffering, if you wish. But is that suffering, or is that something that we can look at? Okay, we've chosen that. That's part of our soul contract. So what can I make the most out of this? How can I make the most out of this? Can I change it? Can I change that soul contract? And if I can't change that, and if I have to ship out now, how can I change my relationship to death, to the impermanence of life? Talking big picture here, right? What's the long-term agenda? If I move on now, will I be okay with that? Because that is part of the long-term agenda, the bigger picture. I mean, we mustn't forget that either, because sometimes we want something so much and it's not happening. And you think, why is that? What is causing that? Well, often things don't happen, not because you're not necessarily aligned, but you haven't considered that something else is actually possible. That is much bigger, much better, without judgment, for your soul's evolution. Because let's face it, we've all been healers in other lifetimes. Irina, if you say now, it's like, oh, there's nothing coming in. Well, maybe it's time to stop being a bloody healer, right? Maybe there's something else out there for you that has nothing. You'll always be that.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've come to realization. I don't want to call it conclusion, because it's an open-ended possibility if it comes, but I've come to the end of that. I don't have to do that anymore, because there's something else out there. Well, I don't know what that is yet, but it's okay, because I'm excited and I keep choosing it. Now, that level of belief system, you can see the belief system I have is very open-ended at the moment. It's open. It's like, oh, bring it on. I'm choosing the energy of expansion, not knowing what that looks like yet. But that gives meaning to my life. And as soon as I want to go small, kicks me out. It's not going to let me do it. Throws me back on the couch. Gives me a pain. No. Look at that first. It's like, what is this? Yeah. So this is that devotion, that discipline of exploration, that joyfulness, that curiosity, not from a place of curiosity learning, as we have heard what AB defines it as, but that continuous curiosity, that acknowledgement of the universal constant of change, of movement. When we are aligned and in tune with our personal truth, everything becomes a choice. If you're not taking anything away from this today, is like choosing is above everything you can ever do. Just keep choosing. An exorcist, keep choosing in 10-second increments. Yeah, you choose something now, doesn't work out, choose it again. Choose it again. If it had, the energy has changed, destroy. What you do is you destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow it, all the projections, judgments, dramas, control, perfectionism. You can go through the list. That's why I gave you the list. Destroy and uncreate, or use your own clearing statements, you know, make it into one of those. What I usually do is I take that information and would put it into one of AB's, you know, like flowery way of revocation, if you want to. Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. So, and that's the one thing. And then there's another thing now, as we're talking very, very grounded, all of this is very grounded. So actually, I want to call this, we're all familiar with spiritual hygiene. I want to call this mental and emotional hygiene. Very down to earth. It's all spiritual at the end of the day, because everything fucking is spiritual. But let's make a distinction here. We're not talking about, you know, doing rituals and ceremonies and that. No, just look at every single thing. What is keeping me from creating this, from actualizing this? Actualizing is a better word, because it actually includes the allowance of remembering rather than just creating. Creation is almost a limiting word for me at this stage, but that's just me and my weirdness with words. Yeah. So one more thing before I let you get on with it now, and you talk. It's fate and synchronicities is it's another thing that keeps tripping me up. Yeah. I have a very nice way of not being devoted or taking discipline or going into a bit of a, you know, victim. Well, it's not happening. You know, it's the fate. Is it really fate? Is it really destiny? Is it really this or that? Fate and synchronicities are but an expression of your choices, seen and unseen. Going back to experience. You stop the experiences, they don't necessarily just happen. You just start creating shit. You got to keep choosing, you got to keep creating experiences, and those experiences then start bringing out the synchronicities and guide you along that fate, that destiny. You are the creator of your reality. God, there's a lot of talking today. Sorry, guys. Are you still here? Who wants to take the talking stick? I'll pass it on. Anything, choose anything. Or are we all fried? I don't even know what time it is.
No, you know what happened? When you are talking, many ideas start to come through us. I imagine it's all of us. And it's so many things, a big pot, I don't know what to choose, you know? You express so many big, great things. Okay, I think we completely process now.
You're right. Yeah. No. It's absolutely fine. And this is why, and also we've been going on for 90 minutes already. So that's great. If there is nothing particular, let it sink in. Listen again to what we were saying, all of us. And use your little iceberg here. Add your own stuff that you know. I suggest is when it comes to create. So for instance, yeah, let's go back to the example what actually inspired this whole thing. Marissa was saying taking the injection or not taking it. Yeah, what is creating what? Well, your belief system will create. If you think it's going to harm you, then there's a probability that happens. But if you think that you just take it because it creates ease with traveling or this or that, and you have no counter indications underneath here in that you know, iceberg underneath the water, then that's exactly what it's going to create. Yeah. And this is why a debate about the pros and cons is almost useless, because it very much will depend on the belief system of the various people. The main issue is here, it's an infringement on personal freedom and choice. And the invitation, the opportunity, because I look at whenever something like that comes up, I say, okay, so how can I take advantage of this? What can I learn through this? What can I really look at? And this is why I latched onto it, because I saw the opportunity to talk about choice. Because once we know what personal choice means, and we fortify ourselves to that extent, that we have clarity of meaning, clarity what we want to create. And that doesn't, again, don't get hung up on it's exactly this or this. It's the energy of it. What is the energy that you want to actualize? What kind of energy? And for me, to give you an example, is my power cannot be taken if I choose it or not, because it's an opportunity for me to look at my belief system. I don't need to reject it. I don't need to take it on. I can stay the observer. I can stay the unentangled observer. And I have no judgment towards somebody who does take it or who doesn't take it. And I keep choosing. At this stage, I'm not choosing it. And then maybe at some stage, I'm choosing it. And I'll be led by my intuition, not necessarily by my senses, by my emotions. I'll be led by trust, not lack of doubt. Are we done? Let me just see if there's anything in particular I want to still say on this. I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to say. It's almost like we can have a chat at some stage about suffering and actually see the opportunity in suffering, see the meaning in suffering, and actually, get to that stage where everything is an experience. Everything just is. And it's the meaning that we attach to it. And this is the choice we have, no matter where we are. Getting back into that moment to moment choice. It literally, and not to be mistaken, a choice is not a decision. Yeah. Because a decision is the old paradigm. It's like, oh, I've decided now to take it. Going back to our example, now, I can't get out because I told everyone. Who gives a flying? Right? You just choose. And 2 seconds later, you say, oh, no, I think I need to change something else. Oh, you're such a fluffy person and can't, discipline. And really? Don't let anyone tell you you're not devoted or have no discipline. Yeah. If we are not disciplined, we wouldn't be sitting here every fucking week talking. Yeah. Trust me. You've got both. No, don't trust me. Trust yourself. What do you know? So this is very, very interesting. So having chosen to do this, having put my devotion into putting all of that together, I walked upstairs and I just found, and I thought, oh, I haven't looked, there was a little book, one of my notebooks, which lie everywhere. And I thought, oh, interesting. Backside, I opened it up and I thought, okay, let me see what I've got there. Now the question, yeah, synchronistically aligned. How can you relate to the system but not compulsively serve it? Right? Is that what we've just been talking about with the rollout of all of that, with our belief system, with choice and all of that? And I don't know where I've written it down, where they were saying is like holding your own ideals, basically be fortified in what your own authentic truth is. And rejecting the system, they say rejecting the system's claims upon you. Now, I would even reframe that and not necessarily rejecting the system, just not allowing it. Just, it's interesting what they're claiming, but what has it got to do with you? Making that choice. And then choosing what creates the most ease. This is an interesting question. Everything you ever do and choose, what can I choose that creates the most ease? And that's not coming from a place of you don't want to put the effort into it. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with that. What creates the most ease here? And then be surprised, because sometimes it says, oh, just take it, just take it, just do it. Like, yeah, but you know, this creates the most ease. Like when you have a client, we've all had clients, and maybe there's a client who says, this was crap, and la la la. You say, okay, do you want the money back? Don't argue. Don't argue with idiots that just drag you down. No judgment. What creates the most ease? Return the money, right? It's not about that. What creates the most ease that I can choose? And again, don't please misunderstand. We don't want to do the effort, because we've gone far, far beyond that. Yeah, we know what effort is. We are devoted. Trust me. Don't me. Trust me. Trust yourself. Okay, guys. Gosh. Good. I'm gonna let you go. This was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope you got something out of it. Sorry, I've talked a lot, but I just wanted to get through all of that. And thanks to all the newbies coming on. And feedback is always cool. And we see you guys next week and see what transpires, what more inspirations can come up, you know, can get us to come up with a new topic. All right. Bye. Stop the share. Hold on. Good. End. Cheers, guys. And thanks for coming on. Hey.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.